Hello there, YouTube. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. Farm Rigging here. Just wanted to say welcome to my channel. Over the years, I have learned a lot of good things off of YouTube, and I figure I work on enough junk around here that I would take you along on some of my projects that I work on around the shop here. You're looking at the latest one right here. This is a Clark, I believe it's a C500 forklift. I haven't been able to determine what model it is. It's a 1970s era machine, I believe. I purchased this off of my local Craigslist for a fairly inexpensive price, and that was due to the main boom cylinder here being in three different pieces, or two different pieces actually, and a bucket of parts on a pallet. Apparently somebody took it apart, and then I guess it was in a shop, and the mechanic took it apart, and then I guess he quit or disappeared or whatever, and so they put the parts on the shelf, and after a year or two decided to get rid of the forklift. So I purchased it basically as you see it now. I have not heard it run. I've had to drag it around and push it around to get it in the shop here. The other night I went ahead and put the cylinder back together. This is the main boom cylinder that raises and lowers the mass. I believe it's a single stage cylinder, and so it doesn't lift terribly high. It's a 15,000 pound capacity forklift from everything that I can tell. The manuals that came with it, there's not really a whole lot. There's a lot of information in there, but I don't exactly know what model it is. I haven't called Clark to try to verify serial numbers or model numbers or anything. There is a model number here of Y1015. I don't think this is what that is from my research that I've done. The Y series machine is a much smaller unit, but I don't know much about forklifts here, so I couldn't tell you that. Here's a look inside the cab. Here's my my other pile of parts that came with the machine. I have no idea where those go, except that they go on the mast here somewhere. I'm gonna guess up near the top of that, where the main boom cylinder mounts up top. It's kind of a nice unit. It's got a cab with a heater. It would be nice to try to get that working. I don't even know how many hours are on this thing. And coming on back here, it's got a 6-cylinder Ford gas engine. I believe it's a 300 industrial engine. I don't know much about gas engines. I was kind of self-taught myself on diesel engines, and I know the basics about gas engines and such. But we'll learn as we work on this thing. You see I got a spark plug that's missing out of a hole. I pulled that out to get an example, to go to the parts store to get a new set of spark plugs for it. It hasn't ran in, as near as I can tell, almost 2 years from talking to the previous owner. We'll walk around here. You'll have to excuse my bad camera skills. I'm not used to running a camera here. Here's a box of parts that I picked up from the local Napa for the distributor and all that other fun stuff. We got a new fuel filter on there, distributor cap, bunch of other little miscellaneous parts. Hopefully you can see this thing with this phone, what it looks like. Fuel tank is still partially full of gas, which is that's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna have to figure out how to get that drain. I don't know if you can see down in there. We're gonna have to drain the tank and get rid of some of that old fuel before we try to start this thing up. I haven't even tried to crank it over. It had a dead battery in it when I got it. So I think the plan of attack right now is I'm going to try to put the main boom cylinder on here tonight. While I have a spare minute, I got to get the other forklift fired up, and we'll try to stuff this down in the hole. I don't have a tripod or anything with me, so I'm gonna have to stop the camera and then I'll come back at you when I get a little bit further along here. Okay, so here's where we're at so far. I had to get the other forklift over here. I had to lower down the forks so that I could get the cylinder up and over top of them to fish it down in here. It's not exactly a tight fit, but there's a lot of lines and everything else that you gotta go around to get this thing fitted down into, it looks like it just fits in a cradle from everything that I can tell. You can see the top side of the cradle on the hydraulic cylinder there. So, and I think it just sets down in there. And once it sets down in there, then these roller chain, this heavy roller chain or whatever you would want to call it, get bolted up onto the top side of the cylinder there. So we'll continue dropping this thing down in the hole and get her setting down in there. Well, here we are. We finally got that cylinder stuffed down in the hole. It appears it's always nice when you're working on you're trying to put together something that someone else took apart, because you have no idea where they put things or how it goes together, unless you're, of course, a mechanic that works on all this stuff every day. It appears that I am missing the looks like there's some sort of a block that goes in there, and then there's a bolt hole on that side there. So I assume that is how that cylinder is held captive at the bottom of this yoke here. I can't find anything in the parts breakdown, in the parts manual that I have. So that is going to be something I'm going to have to call a Clark dealer and see if I can locate those parts, because I've looked all over this thing and I haven't been able to find those parts. So, but the cylinder is in the hole here. Took a little bit to get it down, fished down in there with all those hydraulic hoses and such that were in the way there. You can see where it had to go. It had to go kind of in between these this frame here. So anyway, I guess we're done here for now till I can call the parts place and see if I can get some parts to finish attaching that to the bottom there. So I guess we're gonna have to wait until I get some parts. So if anyone's working on one of these forklifts and is needing to repack the main boom cylinder there, I'll show you the parts kit that came with this thing when I got it. I don't know where they got it. I would assume that Total Lift there would be the brand where they got it. Maybe you can search online and come up with what it is. But here's the part number for it. I have no idea if this is a part number that crosses over with Clark or what, but there's the part number for you if you are needing a repacking kit for one of these cylinders. It went together really well. There was no issues or anything like that. Everything fit like it was supposed to. So, which you would expect for a kit for one of these forklifts. But anyway, so I figured I'd just share that with you. Also, if anyone happens to know the model number of this thing, or maybe even the year range of when these things were made, drop it in the comments below. I'd be really curious to see what it is. Like I said, I haven't really been able to come up with anything, and I haven't been able to really find a serial number on this machine here. So if somebody here watching happens to know, works on forklifts or is familiar with these things and happens to know what this is, let me know in the comments below. I'd be curious to see what it is. Okay, so while we're waiting for parts for the hydraulic cylinders, I went ahead and installed the inline fuel filter there. Anytime I'm working with these hose clamps, I really like this flexible shank nut driver. I think that's what you would call it. I don't know exactly the correct proper term to call it. This one has the bit. You can go from the large to the small by just, let's see if I can show you here. Try to do this one-handed. There we go. You can go back between the small one, which is what those clamps are, or the large bit. Just by flipping it over. I'll try to put a link in the video description below because I really like these ones. A mechanic friend turned me on to these. Maybe you folks already know about this, but I've had these for years. They work really well. I like them for anytime I got to work on those with those hose clamps. And then over here on the other side of this thing, I got the new spark plugs installed. That went well. There was no surprises there. The parts store gave me the wrong parts for the distributor there, so I'm having to wait on that and pick those up at a later date there. So I think this is where I'm going to leave this video off at. I don't know how many parts to this series there's going to be, but anytime you're dealing with getting a piece of equipment that someone else has torn apart, you never actually know what you're getting or what you're up against. When they left off, they tore it apart and leave you a pile of parts like this, or a pile of parts on a pallet. You never know if you're getting a piece of junk or if you're getting a usable unit that can be put back together and used. So go ahead and drop a comment below and let me know if you think I bought a money pit, or if I can get this thing going and I've actually bought something usable. I got a lot of other fun projects planned for the channel here coming up. So if you want to follow along on my journey of working on junk, buying and working on junk, go ahead and like this video and subscribe so you can and hit that little notification bell. I always forget to do that when I'm following other channels. That way you'll be notified when a new video drops in there, so you can be one of the first to watch the next adventure we go on fixing this junk. So until next time, I will catch you in the next one.